ever notice how the singer on the radio may get a spotlight photo, a headline, maybe a tour check? But when that song plays 1,000 times, the person who actually wrote it can end up with a very different kind of check. Here's what most people don't know. Where the money goes depends on which part of the song you're listening to. The words, the recording, or the moment it shows up in a TV show. Today, we teach you a routine so you can read a song's credits like a pro. Stick with me. I'll walk you through 3 quick case sketches so this all lands.
Welcome back to Ranch Beat, where every country song has a story, and we tell it. I'm Sam, and James just laid out the promise. By the end of this episode, you'll have a repeatable royalty read to check who really benefits when a track earns money.
Quick roadmap. We'll define the main royalty types in plain language. Think performance, mechanical, sync, and recording or neighboring rights. Then we'll give a little history, walk a single play through radio, streaming, and a sync placement, and then hit 3 anonymized case sketches so you can practice. If you like checklists, the Credits and Verification Lab is your jam, step by step with public tools. Ready? Let's roll this back to the beginning.
All right. First up, clear definitions that don't require a law degree. Performance royalties are payments for the composition, the song is written, when it's broadcast or performed publicly. Mechanical royalties pay the songwriter when a recording of the song is reproduced. Think a CD, a download, or these days a stream. Sync fees are the one-time licenses to use the song in film, TV, ads. That's the placement check most listeners notice. Then there are master or neighboring rights, payments tied to the actual recording and the performers on it. Keep those 4 boxes in mind as our map.
Put another way, and this is handy for non-musicians. If the song were a pie, performance royalties are paid to the folks who made the recipe and wrote the filling. Mechanicals pay when someone bakes that recipe into a new cake. The master right is the credit for the particular baker who baked a given cake, and sync is when the cake gets rented for a TV show. Different slices, different plates.
A quick history note. Publishing and performance rights go way back to sheet music, and pros, ASCAP, BMI, and others, grew to collect those public performance payments. Recording royalties developed alongside the record industry and performers' rights bodies. Streaming muddied the waters because it introduced both tiny per-play mechanicals and complicated revenue pools for masters. The country music world felt all of this. Radio mattered for decades, but streaming and sync are huge now for how songs find new audiences.
So, money map. Picture a single play. First scenario, a radio airplay. The radio station reports the play. The PROs collect for the composition and pay songwriters and publishers based on their splits. The recording owner, usually the label, doesn't get performance pay from U.S. terrestrial radio. That's a major point of confusion. Internationally, or for digital services, masters can earn performance-style fees too. That difference alone explains why a songwriter and a singer on the same record often see very different checks.
Next scenario, a stream on a DSP. The platform pays a per-stream pot split that typically favors the rights holder who owns the master, often a label, and also pays mechanicals to publishers and songwriters. SoundExchange collects featured and non-featured performer digital performance royalties for non-interactive digital plays in the U.S., and mechanical licensing agencies track the mechanical side. The metadata, ISRC for the recording, ISWC/ISRC links in the publishing world, is how those payments are routed, so accurate credits matter more than ever.
Third scenario, a sync placement. A TV show uses the recording. A music supervisor or label negotiates a sync license for the master and a synchronization license for the composition. That typically generates an upfront sync fee split between the publishers and rights holders per their agreement, and it can create residual performance income each time the show airs, and sometimes that sync deal rewrites or clarifies credits. The key idea? Sync can suddenly move money into hands that weren't getting much before.
Okay, case study 1, the radio hit. Imagine a mid-tempo country single that climbed the charts in the pre-stream era. Song was written by 2 writers, published by publisher A and publisher B, recorded by artist X on label Y with veteran session players. When that single hit the radio, performance royalties were tallied by pros based on station reporting and sampling. The writers each had a 50-50 split on the publishing side. That split is public in pro repertories. The verification points you can check: look up the song in ASCAP or BMI repertory to confirm songwriter and publisher splits, then check station cue sheets or pro distribution notes for how often it was played.
Here's where the twist comes in. The singer, Artist X, might be front and center in press, but unless they're also a credited writer, they don't get the composition's performance royalties from terrestrial radio. They get touring income, merch, and label royalties from sales or streams. So when fans assume the singer is the big winner on every airplay, that's where it gets interesting. The writing credits tell a different story.
Case Study 2. The Streaming Single. Take a modern single uploaded to DSPs with 4 credited songwriters and a sample cleared in the bridge. Each stream produces a small master share paid to the label and a mechanical portion that goes to publishers. Mechanical licensing and streaming is handled either through statutory weights or agency deals, depending on the territory. Verification checkpoints. Check the recording's ISRC and public metadata, then check SoundExchange for master claims and the PRO repertories for the composition splits. Those public entries will show you which publishers should be getting mechanicals and performance money.
A practical note, sampling or co-writing can complicate splits fast. An interpolated hook means a percentage goes to the original writer's publisher, and that shows up in the PRO split lines. So when you see 5 names on a song, don't assume the split is equal. Check the PRO database to see exact percentages when available. That one line tells you everything about who's in line for that slice.
Case Study 3. The Sync Lift. Imagine our streaming single gets placed in a popular show. The show's music supervisor negotiates a sync fee. The label and publishers split the upfront fee per their agreements. Sometimes a sync pushes a writer who had a small share into the spotlight because publishers renegotiate terms for the placement. Verification here: sync notices, cue sheets from the production, and sometimes trade publications report placements. Publicly, you can also cross-check the show's credits and PRO performances if the placement triggers broadcast performance royalties later.
Now let's go into the credits and verification lab. The royalty read routine. Step 1. Look up the song title in ASCAP, BMI, or the PRS or other pro repertories depending on the country. Step 2. Find the ISWC or songwriter IDs and note publisher names and listed splits. Step 3. Check SoundExchange for master claims and featured performer credit in the U.S. Step 4. Verify ISRC and recording metadata on streaming services or metadata aggregators. Step 5. Consult the U.S. Copyright Office or your country's registry for official ownership filings if you need deeper proof. Those 5 steps get you from a guess to documented claims.
Let me add one thing to that. Use free tools first. Pro repertories are public. SoundExchange has searchable claim information. Many publishers and performance rights organizations publish catalogs. If you hit a point where public sources disagree, that's where you note a red flag, and if you're a creator, consult a publisher or music lawyer. For fans, a disagreement is a cue to ask for official documents rather than speculate.
Practical tools for creators and players. Register works right away with a PRO. Get your ISRCs and ISWCs sorted. Sign up for SoundExchange if you're a performer, and keep written split agreements with every co-writer. If you recorded as a session player, check your contract. Some session contracts are work for hire and won't give you future royalties unless negotiated. Small actions early, avoid big headaches later. If you're hearing this as a songwriter, treat this like locking the barn door before the horse becomes famous.
Drama and ethics will avoid prying into private checks. We won't name specific payouts or guess an artist's income. That's private and often misleading. Instead, we focus on public records and how to verify them. If you encounter a disputed credit, approach it with documented sources. The PRO entry, copyright filings, and publisher statements are the right places to look. Respect privacy, but insist on reputable sources.
Listening lab time. Pick one country song from your playlist, any song except one from Thailand, and run through the 5-step royalty read. We've got links in the show notes. For homework, send us one verified credit via the inbox, a songwriter name, the pro entry, and one thing you learned. I'll read a few in the next episode, and we'll give shoutouts.
Before we wrap, 3 quick takeaway checks to do on any song. 1. Who's listed as writers in the PRO repertory? 2. Which entity claims the master on SoundExchange? 3. Find the ISRC and ISWC to tie the composition to the recording. Do those three in order and you'll spot most common mismatches.
So that's the setup. Learn the slices, find the public records, and remember that a song's life, radio, stream, sync, moves money in different directions. Next time you hear a song on the radio and think about who it pays, you'll hear it differently. Every country song has a story, and we tell it.
If this episode helped you read credits with more confidence, hit subscribe so we can keep doing these deep dives. Rate us, leave a comment with the next song you want a royalty read on, and use the show notes to follow the verification links we mentioned.
Thanks for listening. I'm James. Sam, anything you want to add before we sign off?
Just this. For anybody making music right now, do the paperwork early. It keeps the focus on the music and not the math later. See you next time.